All right, what's poppin', party pundits? We are on for another episode of Pop Talk, episode 40. This is your man, Professor Nims. I'm giving it up for Coach Dave,
bro,
Boston Jared,
what up?
And the Casual Ran. So let's just jump into this content for the night. There's so many things to talk about. We also have a producer, so you're gonna see a little bit of glitz and kind of like glam, little bells and whistles that we've kind of added to the show. But the content is still gonna carry the in-depth analysis that you expect to see from the pundits, the most educated pundits on the internet. We're gonna start off with the women's show this weekend, and that's what we're calling it. And we're gonna highlight the two main fights, even though there is about 4 fights on that main card. We're speaking about Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. And not only that, we got Michaela Mayer versus Alicia Baumgardner. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the odds. I'm gonna give the odds for that fight. And then once I do that, we're going to give a little bit of analysis and then kind of get our pundit picks for that fight. So this fight is on Saturday, October the 15th. Main card starts at 2 p.m. and the main event at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At this time, Shields is a underdog, according to Vegas Insider. So this is not fan.
She's an underdog?
She is. So, and this is she's it's basically even odds, but she's plus 100. So she's plus 100, and then with Marshall being a favorite at a negative 125. So this is meaning that $100 bet on Shields will get you $100, but for Marshall it would take a $125 bet to get back $100. So that's why they are labeling Shields as the underdog, which I'm surprised at. With the Mayer is the favorite at negative 350, meaning that you would need a $350 bet to get back $100, while Baumgardner is a plus 250 underdog, meaning that a $100 bet on Baumgardner would pay you back $250. So let's first start off with probably one of the, if not the greatest female matchup that we've ever seen. Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. I'm going to let Coach Dave kind of start us off with this and just kind of talk about, give us a brief analysis about how you think that this fight will go on, and then we're going to hold our picks until the end, until we end up just finish talking about Shields and Marshall.
Right. Well, I think the fight definitely will go to distance. I think it's probably, real talk, it's probably a 60-40% chance of somebody getting knocked out. And then I will honestly have to go with Savannah really, really catching Clarissa just with the punching power. Now, what I think is going to happen is I think that Clarissa going to find out that, okay, there might have been a little change in development from the amateurs. And once she tastes that power a little bit, I think Clarissa's going to absolutely put on a boxing clinic to the point to where, hey, listen, you really can't hit what you can't see. Mm-hmm. Now, it does not surprise me that they got Marshall ahead and they got Clarissa as the underdog. That's just simply probably boxing politics. You're fighting over the waters. The queen has just died, and I think they actually even developed some type of new WBC belt that has Queen Elizabeth on it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So that makes any difference. But I'm just saying, a little bit of boxing politics behind it. But I think Clarissa's going to put on a boxing clinic. I think Clarissa, even though she does not have a stoppage, because there's so much, a lot of stoppages, because there's so much riding on this, that girl Savannah absolutely better not get careless in her hunt to try to mitigate the boxing science and techniques of Clarissa Shields. She will get caught. And likewise, Clarissa better not try to prove anything and just out the gate get up in there and stay in range of this girls' club and stuff. So, and I'll say my pick for later, but I think it's gonna go the distance with a hella fine boxing clinic put on by Clarissa Shields.
Now, I had a question I wanted to ask David. I was going to ask early in the week, but I said when I was saying for the show. Dave, can you talk about, from a training standpoint, what it does? Because these ladies were supposed to fight several weeks ago, and obviously the queen died, and they had to push that back. Can you talk a little bit about how that affects because you got these guys these girls to peak at a certain time, and now you're essentially pushing it back, whatever it was,
5 weeks. No, it's 5 weeks. It's a 5 week.
Almost over a month now. So, Dave, can you talk about that from a training standpoint? What kind of effect that can have on the fighters, whether it be adverse or otherwise?
It could. I tell you this. It could go either way. So, luckily though, for like, let's take Clarissa, let's take either Bears and definitely BAUMGARDNER, right? If anything, it might have just hit them a little bit more so on the mental and like, dang, man, I really wanted it. But somebody that does not have that, Alicia BAUMGARDNER, she is a gym rat. Yeah, they all work out and maybe prep for the fight. But Alicia BAUMGARDNER and Clarissa Shields, too, they gym rats, man. They are in there, you know what I'm saying? So if that discipline of that fighter is there, then 5 weeks off, it's like, okay, you know what? Hey, look, I might take about 1 week, man. Go ahead and get me some of that daggone that glazed donut or whatever, but I'm dead. Now, if it's an undisciplined fighter, you know what I'm saying? Then they could struggle. They could struggle. But it's on that coach, man, to get him right dead back up in that gym and literally no days off. So you hit it on the head, man. It can have both an adverse, mentally and just in terms of fight hype and I'm getting up, or just more so than just the physical stuff. But for these fights, all of them, it just builds the hatred and the anticipation, man. You saw it, like Alicia BAUMGARDNER and Michaela Maris, they was even more heated, man. It's on. Hey, look, I put it to you this way, since you said like a pastor. Let me put it to you this way. Then I said, there's a Bible verse that said, a longing, fulfilled cheers the heart, but hope deferred makes the heart sick. So, you got this longing, man, that they've been wanting, and then it got them, got pushed back a little bit. But October 15th, what I'm saying? That hope fulfilled, man, makes the heart cheerful. I think you're gonna see some serious rumbling, baby. Just straight up thumping, man.
All right, so to pick that up, so just to clarify, so the belt and it's some, not to be disrespectful, but of course it's the WBC. They have added an additional belt, the Elizabethan belt. Of course, because it's just like, why not make them pay another stationing fee or something like that? But
They did it with Canelo before. They did it with Fury when he last fought. His was all white. I think
the WBC is notorious for creating belts
corruption. But let's give your analysis, Boston Jared, and then we'll end with the casual one.
Look, I'll be as short as I can. I don't have much of an analysis because I haven't seen much of either Marshall or Michaela Mayer. I've only seen a little bit of BAUMGARDNER. I've seen a lot more of
Shields.
Of Shields, but not enough where I could break the fight down. So I will say this, as far as the Mayer and the BAUMGARDNER fight, even with the Shields Marshall fight, these ladies are doing a whole heck of a lot to sell this fight. So I hope for the people who are out there who are watching this, who are watching this podcast, it's the middle of the day. There's really no reason to not watch this fight. The only thing, what network is it coming on, Cam? It's not going to be on Sky, or is it something like that? Is it?
This is going to be on
ESPN Sky Sports. So if you got ESPN
on Sky Sports, and if you're in Australia, it's on Fox. But no, it's on ESPN Sky Sports, and then Fight FITE TV.
Yeah, these ladies are selling the hell out of this fight. So everybody take time out today and support, man. This is going to be these might be the two best fights of the weekend. It's very, 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 very possible that these are the two best fights of the weekend. So that's all I'm going to say, because I haven't seen enough of any of the fighters to break it down. So that's all I'm going to say.
But I definitely would encourage you to watch some video, particularly of MARSHAL and
Mayer.
BAUMGARDNER. Well, yeah, both of them, BAUMGARDNER and Mayer. But I think we've all seen a lot of Shields. She's kind of carrying the mantle right now for women's boxing. But the casual Rand, speaking for the casual fans, what is your analysis of this fight between Clarissa Shields and Savannah MARSHAL?
Man, first off, I think this year will probably be the greatest year for women's boxing. Coming off the heels of what was it, the Katie Taylor Serrano fight a few months ago, which was an awesome ass fight. And if anything, if Clarissa Shields learned anything from that fight, is the fact that these are 2-minute rounds, and if she goes in thinking that she's just going to try to knock that girl out, and then if Savannah MARSHAL actually box her for 2 minutes, she can end up losing this fight. So, but if she goes in, if both of them go in boxing, man, I think this is going to be an excellent fight, man. I think this is an excellent card, man. It's good for women's boxing. And since I'm the last one in here, man, I'm going with Shields for the win.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get both of your picks. So you're going to take Shields at basically even odds. Which is not bad. I think that she would be more of a risk if she was kind of like an 8-1 favorite. But I actually kind of like those odds. Shields at plus 100.
Dude, Shields been in the ring with Earl Spence. So, you know what I'm saying? So she's fought people with power. She can understand power.
She's sparred. Wait a second.
She's sparred, but she still, you know what I'm saying? The dude hit hard, and it's a man. So I'm like,
I didn't spar heavyweight.
Understand how to navigate power and box. I think she got the upper hand.
As long as she's going
to take this woman out.
Yeah, don't mislead. Let's not mislead our viewing audience here. Y'all technically correct.
Shit, been in the ring. It's the same shit that when Tank beat up Broner. You know what I'm saying? In sparring, when Earl Spence beat up Mayweather in sparring, it's still sparring. If you get hit, it's getting punched in the face. Is getting punched in the face.
To be clear, we don't have any video footage to substantiate any of the wild claims that the casual Rand is making about fighters getting beat up and sparring. But
with that said,
okay.
Let's just stay with the casual one. So we have Michaela Mayer, who is a negative 350 favorite, in BAUMGARDNER, who's a plus 250 underdog. Let's get your pick for this.
Man, I'm going for BAUMGARDNER. I just, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got no scientific proof. I ain't got no breakdown to film, but I'm just hoping she wins, bro.
All right, let's go to Coach Dave. Let's get your pick on this.
Hey, all right. Well, look, man, I'm gonna go with Shields by absolute unanimous decision, and then I'm gonna put a caveat in there of Savannah, if she gets desperate, get caught, man. She's gonna by decision. But the caveat of desperation means Savannah might go to sleep, even though Shields doesn't have a lot of knockouts. BAUMGARDNER and Michaela Mayer, I'm going with BAUMGARDNER as well. Hey man, I just think if the girl can halfway match Michaela Mayer's punch output, that power is a significant neutralizer, man. And I think that's where people are sleeping on this thing. But if she doesn't match that output, it's gonna be a long night for her, man. It's gonna be a long night for my girl BAUMGARDNER, man. But I think she knows what, like you can't come in this fight, man, not punching. You got against this girl, man.
Dave, do you think this fight, and you know, I've heard people make kind of comparable, give comparable breakdowns of this. Do you think this goes maybe similarly to how Serrano and Taylor went? Serrano being the bigger puncher but less volume, and Taylor being the high volume boxer.
It could, but I thought even in that fight though, man, I mean, I thought the both punch outputs, except towards the end, were pretty good, bro. I thought
interesting. All right.
Well,
I thought that it was Taylor's volume that eventually won the day, and Serrano started to peter off. Her volume petered off towards the last stretch of the fight.
Well, and the factor of Serrano's power, like Serrano was coming up. I believe like 2 weight.
Oh, that's true too. That is also true. Because Baumgartner's not coming up. They're both.
They're both fighting at their kind of, you know. So this was in the effort to make a super fight. So that kind of power advantage, you know, versus the volume was kind of negated by her having to come up in that weight.
And Baumgartner is chopped up. Did you see her at that press conference? She's got traps and triceps and biceps. And I did not know that Alicia Baumgartner was a wrestler at some point. I don't know if she wrestled in high school.
Nobody listening to me. I'm telling you, you sleeping on this girl's strength, and she can convert that strength into punching power. And let me tell you something. On the side, as tall as Mikaela Mary is, and how she like to bend down, I'm gonna tell you the punch that's gonna cripple males. But if she's sleeping, it's gonna catch that uppercut. She throw that uppercut and bring that head out the pocket, then twist off that hook. Night.
Man, she's stopping her, huh?
Let's
see.
So Boston, let's go with your picks for.
I'm picking with my heart here. I'm gonna pick with my heart. I want to see Baumgartner get the win. Both of the Americans. I want to see Baumgartner get the win, and I want to see Shields get the win. But again, that's just me picking with my heart, not based off of any kind of analysis.
So I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna stay with my original pick. So I got Shields beating Savannah Marshall in a closely contested decision. I think she might have to deal with a couple. I think that uppercut, I think she might lean into, like, Savannah Marshall actually has a pretty good uppercut herself. And then I'm gonna take the favorite. Even though I would not bet on her at -3.5 kind of favorite over Baumgartner, but I think that the reason that is going to be, unless she can hurt her and get her out of there, the reason that I think it's going to be hard to match that output is because she is so. I saw at the press conference today, and I was like, I immediately wanted to go to the gym and do some curls because Baumgartner is cut up. But those big muscles, they take oxygen. Even though it's a 2-minute round, so she's. I watched her last fight before this defense. What's that?
You think she didn't look bulky to me? She looks very, very, very lean, very, very defined, but very, very lean. Whereas Mayer doesn't have much of any of that muscle mass, and especially if she's a wrestler, if she's got a wrestling background. They've got that built-in kind of muscular endurance, man. I don't know that.
I know.
Go ahead, finish. I don't know that that's going to hurt.
Endurance. It's different, like boxing endurance, and like I did both. Like boxing endurance and wrestling endurance is like 2 different things. Like if she is able to tie up Mayer and to get her to grapple a little bit, then that's gonna be to her benefit. But just throwing punches. She's got big arms. I mean, they're not huge arms, but she has big arms for a woman. And like that, so? Yeah. I mean, I'll show you without there. I was kind of surprised by it a little bit, but like she got some nice little, you know what I'm saying, some guns on her. And this is even before she's even had to cut weight or do anything like that. So I mean they're on weight already, aren't they? When is the weigh-in? Well, I guess the weigh-in must be Friday. Right there. So I mean, that's just out there, but like that's a nice gun.
She did. That's a lot. She did got a lot of tricep. And
I mean,
Mayer
has
got no musculature on her at all. Like Mayer's got no muscle. Alicia is, yeah.
I mean, she's got traps and all of that. So
man, she chopped up.
She definitely chopped up. So I'm gonna go with my original pick. So I got Mare by a tight decision, and then I'm gonna go with the GOAT over Savannah Marshall. So with that said, we are going to take a little pause right now so we can jump into the next segment. All right, at this time, take a couple of seconds of a break. And then our next segment, we are going to hop into the fight that's down under. And if you know what I'm talking about, we are speaking of the fight for the undisputed lightweight championship. I don't want to talk about any of those other belts.
Yeah, the rematch that shouldn't be. Yeah, the rematch, the most unnecessary, the superfluous fight of the weekend.
Well, no, I mean, partially, but I think the rematch that is if
contractually obligated.
Exactly. So like Kambosos, like this just means that Kambosos has a good promoter and manager, because that he's gonna get a check. Not only that, but he's gonna rematch fight in his hometown. I'm not mad at that at all.
I think all that was to have Danny say no.
I mean, well, that's how. I mean, the person who has the most, the person who's willing to walk away first is the one who has the most leverage in negotiations, right? So we'll give Boston a couple of seconds before we jump back into this segment.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a fun-filled fight for this weekend, but we'll go ahead and start with the casual rant. So on Saturday, October the 15th at 11 p.m., this is going to be on ESPN Plus in Melbourne, Australia. We have Devin Haney taking on George Kambosos for the WBC, the WO, the IBF, and the WBA lightweight championships. Forget what you heard about all those other fake belts out there. This is for the undisputed title at this time. And I'll go ahead and give the odds. We'll come back with our picks, but Devin Haney is a massive favorite. He is a negative 1250 favorite, meaning that you would have to bet $1,250 to get back $100, and George Kambosos is a plus 700 underdog, meaning that a $100 bet will get you $700 back if there is a win by George Kambosos. So with this said, we can let's talk about this fight, the casual one. But do you see the winner of this fight kind of being the head honcho, the king of this lightweight division, or do you see it as just as a bridge on to particularly if it's Haney, right, to kind of move on to bigger and better things?
So this is a huge fight for Devin Haney. Not because he's going to win, it's in style he needs to win by. If he beats Kambosos like he beat him last time, it's going to be a loss for the Haney team. Haney. Why I say it's going to be a loss is because they're not going to generate enough people that want to see him fight going forward. So right now in that division, you say if he wins, yes, by belts, he is the guy at 135. What, 130?
No,
135.
135.
Yeah, he will be the guy at 135. But in that same division, they're talking about the Tank Garcia fight is maybe on par or a little bit lower than the Spence Crawford fight. And
we don't know what weight that's at. We don't know what weight that's at. Because Garcia is a 140-pound fighter, Tank's 135-pound
So
fighter.
if Tank the A side, why he gonna go up? If he, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that he's fighting right now. If you asking casual Rand right now, I'm saying that fight will be at 135, and that fight is bigger than anything Devin Haney can put together at 135, even though he controls all the belts. So they're already on Twitter, you know what I'm saying, like Tank's team saying like, yo, Tank don't fight for belts. Tank fight for that money in that gate.
So it don't matter what Devin do then. So if Devin go out there and stop
Devin going to have to show out. Devin going to have to put on a show and get Kambosos' ass out of there and to make a name for himself. But if he beats him and is boring as shit, ain't nobody gonna call for that Tank Haney fight.
Well, let me ask you this then. If Devin goes out there and does what you're saying, goes out there and stops Kambosos in spectacular fashion, and then 2 days later they announce Tank versus Ryan Garcia at 135 pounds, is Devin still the premier guy in the division, or is it Tank?
No, it's still Tank.
Still Tank with no belts.
With no belts.
How's that? With no belts. Yeah, man.
I mean,
what a crazy ass world we live in boxing.
Like I always tell y'all, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can pull up them numbers with Kambosos and Haney, and even if you could pull them, even if it was United States, it still ain't going to trump what Tank doing.
What's Tank's best win at 135 pounds?
I give the shit if it's against damn the Bozo the Clown. Them numbers is hitting. Tank
right,
numbers is hitting. So that means he is the man at that division.
Okay.
Hey, but look, man, let me pop back up in here, man. Because when we first started this whole pop talk stuff, man, Jared, you just been hating on Tank like for motherfucking ever, man. And to me, bro, it just don't make no sense. The first time hating on it, I'm sorry, man. Hold on, Casual man, you done, bro? Go ahead. Let me let you finish. Cause I gotta come back.
That's all I had to say. You know what I'm saying? Haney gonna have to show up and show out so he can put his name in the hat for a potential Tank fight. Because of right now, it don't make no sense. Even though he has all the belts, he ain't no draw. He ain't no draw.
You don't think he just has to win?
No. He's gonna win.
They gonna lump his ass up like Rigondeaux. They gonna look what else? The one with the 5 brothers.
Gary Russell.
They gonna lump him up just like that, and then they ain't never.
I don't think none of them were ever undisputed.
Right, that's the thing, and that's what. Look, I get what
the
argument Randy's making. I was playing more so devil's advocate.
Okay,
but,
that's what I thought.
Yeah. No, I was playing devil's advocate, but just to. It's crazy, this boxing world we live in today, isn't it kind of wild, man? This kid, and look, I get it because I've criticized Devin Haney for the same thing, but I had to give the kid his respect because he's the undisputed champ, and I think he's fought the better opposition than Tank. But I'm not going to sit here and try to argue that he's going to be the number one guy in the division based off of all the stuff that Randy explained. So I get it. I was playing more so devil's advocate to see what Randy.
With that said, I think it.
Well, Dave has some shit to get off his chest.
But it is. I'm gonna throw it to him. But so you think that Devin Haney, his win over George Kambosos was better than Tank Davis' knockout of Leo Santa Cruz?
Yeah, Santa Cruz is a 126 pounder or 130 pounder. Moving up.
Yeah, but he
come on, man.
He flattened him. He knocked out Mario Barrios, who was a bigger guy.
Who has won what? Who is Mario Barrios? What's his? I mean, look, if we're gonna do this, like, look, I get it.
I know, but yeah, but I mean,
Barrios, but who?
I mean, so but what I'm saying, but like, so what do you so? What do you think is it's not George Haney, but Devin Haney's best win?
I think right now it's Linares, maybe Linares, and the secondary win is
where he was doing that little genuine dance at the end.
Yeah, he did. But I tell you what, I still think now maybe the Pitbull Cruz, and now with Pitbull Cruz has really starting to establish himself as a top 135 pounder. The argument that you could make
as a menace, yeah.
And Tank with one hand was able to, in my opinion, convincingly outbox Pitbull Cruz. So you've got Pitbull Cruz, you've got Pedraza, who really hasn't done a whole heck of a lot, in my opinion, since losing the Tank. I don't know, man.
I was just surprised that you think that Devin Haney has a better resume than
just look at it. Look, and that's without litigating it the way we're litigating it now. When it
I thought you were going to say that's
names,
without looking. I thought you were going to say that's without looking.
no, not without looking. No, I can think of the names.
I want to sum this up before we go to Dave. I want to sum this up by bringing in a topic that we brought in before is kind of the reason that we're in this predicament now. The reason I say that Haney is not getting the respect that he is as an undisputed is because he only beat Kambosos to become undisputed. He didn't go to Charlo route of beating 4 champions to become undisputed.
I'm so sorry.
If you want to beat 4 champions,
I'm so sorry that he beat the man instead of he should have been like
he beat one guy. He beat one guy
who had all the belts.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but now look at him. Now look at him. He's still the B side of a Tank fight.
Well, Randy, Terrence
Crawford is irrelevant.
Terrence Crawford beat 3 champs. You don't respect any of them guys who Terrence Crawford beat, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
So it don't matter who the fuck. Devin
right.
could have
But no. I respect Terrence Crawford at 140. I respected him as the unified champion.
Let's
not get too far away, guys. Let's not listen. We bringing in a whole bunch of kind of ancillary topics.
No, we're not, because Randy's argument is that Devin, if he had beaten 4
if he would have bought 2 or 3 more champions,
he will be able to. You also saying
but that's not true.
But you were also saying that he doesn't respect.
I respect Crawford at 140. I don't respect him at 140.
Those are ancillary topics. Like we are talking about a undisputed fight this weekend, and let's throw it to Coach Dave or whatnot. So first let's give your analysis on the fight, and then we can kind of bring in the other stuff, because at this point, bringing in Tank and other people who are not fighting, those are ancillary topics. But let's talk about what's happening this weekend, and then we can bring in who would be the A side, B side fighting with Tank.
Let me just focus on. Well, first of all, I don't even know why it's happening. You know what I'm saying? Devin Haney should just beat this guy. If you take a look at the first fight, seeing what it would take for Kambosos to overcome that reach, that movement, that jab, that boxing technicalness of Haney, I just don't see him changing the whole fight game like that. I don't see it happening. I just don't. And I ain't been watching his camp. I don't see it happening. The only thing I see this Joker doing is just, you know what you probably should have did the first fight, instead of getting frustrated and confused by Haney putting them twins all up on your face. You should have made it as ugly as you can. You should have made it like a ugly woman eating daggone cold, unsalted grits and frying. That's what you better do. But I don't see the skill set that's needed to outbox. I don't see it happening unless God Almighty has just touched his boxing acumen and said, "It shall be done." So that's in a nutshell, that's my take on it. Now, going back to all this other stuff, I sum it up with a quickness, man. I just think even on the stuff that was on the outskirts with Randy and Jared was coming, I honestly, even like last week and definitely this week, I'm trying to tell you, I think Randy's analysis of stuff is, I respect Haney as the champion, but he's just a boring fighter. So what, he got the belt. Bottom line of it is, Tank knocking mofos out. He people coming to see him fight. Haney is in the same way as you can take the self-proclaimed, best ever Mayweather. His fights got boring, man, and period. It just, people still went to go see him though. He just more so maybe to see him lose, but it ain't no crowd pulling thing. And on that strength of opposition argument, Jared, I agree with that stuff to some degree, bro. But I told you even a while back when you was talking this shit about, I said, you know what? You're talking about strength of opposition. I talked to you guys about a holistic look and how you build fighters. And I told you to go and count Tank's his 27 fights, and then take a look at Mike Tyson's 27 fights. Take a look at that ratio. Take a look at the opposition, but it does not take away the fact that this boy can fight. That's what I think the whole thing is that you missing on this Tank guy.
Dave, nobody said he couldn't fight. Nobody said that.
But I'm saying the analysis that you give on him, you know, and this guy is so, when I tell you Tank is so parallel to Mike Tyson in terms of fights, victories, and knockouts, it would stun you. It would stun you.
Where's Tank's Razor Ruddock?
It don't, bro. It don't. Listen to what I'm saying, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. And we are not even talking about on a pound for pound level. I'm just talking about here. Look at what this guy is doing.
You said they parallel. Okay. I pull up Mike Tyson. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna pull up Mike Tyson on box.
I think there's a little bit of difference in that.
More than a little bit.
Well, yeah, because there is not the threat of a knockout that you have in anybody that you fight in the heavyweight division compared to somebody that you fight as a lightweight or a junior lightweight.
No, man. I totally disagree. A punch is a punch, bro. Hey, if jokers are getting knocked out by damn jabs in any division, a punch is a punch, bro. You cannot say that. You cannot say that.
But
about
a heavyweight, one punch can take you out, and unless you're a Tank, you're not gonna see that at lightweight or junior lightweight. I think that's what makes Tank just a freak of nature, and makes him a unicorn. Like, he's got legitimate, he has verified one punch power at that weight division.
I mean, Wilfredo Gomez had 100% knockout ratio through like 29 fights at 130 pounds, right? So unicorn, I think, might be stretching things, but yeah, we get it.
How many people did he drop with one punch?
Wilfredo Gomez?
Yes.
Go back and look. But I know
I would say nobody.
That's based off of what? Now, I can't remember all of Wilfredo Gomez's fights. I know going into that Salvador Sanchez fight, he had
Salvador, hold on. You
100%
lightweight Salvador Sanchez. Hold on. You talking about lightweight? 135? And
I believe it might have been at 130. I think the Salvador Sanchez Wilfredo Gomez fight was at either 126 or 130 pounds. I can't remember. But we get it. The kid Tank can fight, man. Nobody's saying he can't fight. Nobody in their right mind is questioning Tank's boxing ability. What they do question, and when I say they, objective critics question his opposition. That's it. That's it. I don't understand why Tank fans get so riled about this shit. I mean, Devin has fought more recognizable guys, more name brand recognizable guys.
Wow, really?
Hey,
I believe.
I'm just gonna read the last 10 opponents for each of those people.
For who? Haney or
for
Haney and Tank?
Yeah. So we have. So this is for Tank.
Well, David, you want to say something?
Okay, go ahead, Coach.
I just wanted to ask, and just one word answers. All right, who wins, Haney or Tank?
Tank.
Bump record. Who wins?
Tank.
All right, who wins, Garcia or Tank?
Tank.
All right, who wins? All right, Lomo or Tank?
That's a close fight.
I want to see how Lomo looks in his next fight.
But we want to see the fights, Dave. Okay. Why are we talking about?
But I'm saying
talk about hypothetical shit. When are we going to see these fights happen? Let's see.
But my point of it is this: you're talking about strength of opposition. If the opposition is Haney, you just said he gets his ass whooped.
But I want to see it though.
So that kills it.
No, it doesn't kill it, Dave, because I still want to see it happen.
But
I think Crawford stopped Spence. I still want to see the fight.
All right, so listen. So Tank has 27 fights with 25 knockouts. Devin Haney has 28 fights with 15 knockouts. So last 10 opponents, Rolly Romero. So this is for Tank Davis, Rolly Romero, Isaac Cruz, Mario Barrios, Leo Santa Cruz, Yuriokis Gamboas, Ricardo Nunez, Hugo Ruiz, Jesus
Ramos, right?
Yeah.
No, damn, not even.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then Francisco Fonseca, and then Liam Walsh. And then we go 11. So right before that was Jose Pedraza, which was his
Pedraza might still be his best win out of all them guys.
So that was like that's going 11 deep on there, right? So if I go to Devin Haney, Devin Haney has his last fight was George Kambosos, Jojo Diaz, Jorge Linares, Yuriorkis Gamboa, Alfredo Santiago, Zaire Abdullayev, Antonio Moran, Zolozani, and Dajigini, Juan Carlos Borjos, Mason Bernard, and I think we get the picture. And then Hamza Simpiwo. I mean, come on, like
man, all these alphabet soup guys, bro.
Well, look, I will say this: that with the Fonseca and was it Liam Walsh?
It wasn't.
Walsh was a name at the time, I believe. So was Fonseca at that time, I believe. So I will say this: Tank has probably got more names that I recognize, more guys that I've seen. But I would rate Diaz and Linares over any of those guys who he's beaten, with the exception of maybe Pedraza. So it's a little bit closer.
Come on, like Diaz was a height machine that never reached those. Leo Santa Cruz was a legitimate champion.
Yeah, he was, but at what weight though?
It was at 126, but he only
at 126. And what weight did the fight happen at?
It happened at 130. It happened at 130.
Hey, so how many people, whether you recognize the names or not and all that stuff, but how many show enough damn thumpers or whatever would you say Haney had out of those 27 fights?
Thumpers? When you say thumpers, quality of opposition is what I think what you're talking about.
Rate as wow, this is some strength of opposition. How many of those would you rate? How many of you would you say?
I would say Diaz, Gamboa, Kambosos, Linares. 4.
So 3.
4.
All right. So on Tank.
With Tank, Pedraza, Gamboa, even though the Gamboa had the jacked up leg in that fight.
Okay.
Pedraza, what is it? So Gamboa.
He fought Gamboa after. Didn't he fight Gamboa after Tank fought him? He
did, but Gamboa was at least didn't have a torn Achilles or a ruptured Achilles during the fight.
All right, so wait, so how many did Tank have? How many you get for Tank? 2, 3, how many?
Tank, I would say Pedraza. I would say Gamboa.
Isaac
Cruz, definitely. And man, I definitely want to say maybe. Oh man, the Fonseca and Walsh was a while ago, but those guys were definitely names at the time. So I may have to reconsider based off of Fonseca and Walsh, because at that time those names were pretty good, if I remember correctly.
But even with those,
they were undefeated, and he smashed them. He knocked.
The Walsh win specifically. Yeah.
Okay, so 4 and 4 for both of them, right? In terms of strength of opposition that we would consider equal, man. It's 4 and 4.
We named 4 names. I still would rank Linares and Diaz, those 2 guys, over any 2 guys that Tank has.
Even at this point, like I remember when I was, not to put out there, when I was like locked up in Atlanta, and I remember them talking about Jorge Linares, who
was being locked up.
That's a different story.
It was like grad school. Like grad school when I was in Atlanta living. That was 2003. That was 2003. That's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
and look
You
though.
saying your boy old as shit.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
So okay, guys, I ain't even getting into the opposite. So now, listen at this. It was 4-4 that were like they might have had some soft fight. Listen at these names here, bruh. Listen at these names here. Check it out. Mitch Blood Green.
Mitch Green.
James Tillis.
Yep. Tony
And-
Tucker.
No, let me finish. No, let me finish. Mitch Blood Green.
Yeah.
James Tillis. Count up Mike Tyson's his 27 fights.
Yeah, but Dave, how many times a year was he fighting?
But you making excuses, bro. I'm saying you might
Excuses.
and I would say Tony Tucker. I think Tony Tucker. Those and so my point being, bro, is you're looking at jokers that we consider solid fighters, strong fighters, bro. They 4 and 3 even on Mike Tyson, Jared. So that's why I'm just saying, hey man.
So let me ask you this, Dave. Wait, how old was Tyson when he was fighting them dudes?
But what's
19?
Yeah. And how old is Tank now? Tank is almost 30, isn't he?
You got an excuse for every.
It's not about excuses, Randy. Dave, you trying to compare apples and oranges. You trying to talk about a guy who was active 30 years ago, over a quarter of a century ago, against a guy who's active now.
It ain't apples and oranges. It's the boxing methodology of how you build a fighter. All
right, we're gonna be building Tank Davis until we all got gray hairs. We'll all be bald and in retirement homes. We'll still be building Tank Davis.
I mean, but to me, I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it even though it is with Mayweather, but it's a paradigm shift. Tank is going about it by saying that the belts ain't shit, which everybody says, but everybody still try to reach for them 4 belts. Tank is saying, look, I don't give a shit about the belt. My name stands alone, and I am going to reign at this division.
Really, I don't think that's what's happening. I mean, this is not.
I think that's what's happening. That's totally what's happening.
Ellaby
just said it. Ellaby just said it. He was like, y'all can fight.
Ellaby is cap, man. Like, what
exactly.
Like,
thank you.
When have you heard Ellaby say something? You'd be like, man, that was smart. He's gonna do it. No, he's not. What I'm saying is like what we want to see. I want to see the model of Sugar Ray Leonard when he was like, I'm taking out Duran, I'm taking out Hearn, I'm taking out all of those top guys.
Look who at the time who's his mentor. Mayweather ain't never been like, yo, I'm going to unify all 4 belts. He ain't never say that.
Yeah, he did. Before Zab Judah lost to Baltimore, that was the fight to get Floyd Mayweather undisputed, and then Zab ended up losing to Baltimore.
He was supposed to be undisputed, but then Zab messed that up.
And he realized afterwards. So was that before when he was Pretty Boy or Money?
He was Pretty Boy.
I don't fucking remember, Dave. I know they were talking a bunch of shit.
Once he became Money, he understood that you ain't got to fight for these belts and pay these sanctions.
No, that's not true.
You can still be
Randy,
the biggest draw in boxing.
You understand? There is no money without Pretty Boy. Nobody cares about Money Mayweather without all the accolades and all the stuff that Pretty Boy did.
So that's I say bullshit because Tank is Tank. He is the top 5 draw in boxing. Top 5. Name me 5 other. Tell me he ain't a top 5 draw in boxing right now.
Okay.
Tell me he ain't.
He ain't.
He probably is right around that number 5.
So
probably.
You're scraping at 5 when Mayweather was the number 1, but I don't see but he's scraping maybe at 5. Like I think I can name 5 in front of him. He's
still top 5 and not chasing 1 belt. Not chasing 1 belt. So you can't tell me the fucking plan ain't working. You can't say the plan ain't working, bro.
How's it working?
You mad because the fights that you want ain't being made, but the fights that Tank's doing,
that's got his name.
Yeah, because we're fucking boxing fans. We want to see good fights. We don't want to see him beat up Rolly Romero, dog. Like,
yeah, I mean, like, what else will we be mad about? I mean,
if the belts matter so much, then why is a fucking Tank Garcia fight bigger? It's probably like the top 3 fights
because of Garcia,
right now.
Because of this new dumb social media era, and because of Garcia, because Garcia is
all right. It ain't because of the fucking belts, bro. Haney can have all them belts. You see, he fucking dumping them as is. He done dumped 2 of them.
Well, he dumped the ceremonial belts, the franchise belts, which the WBC just created, right? And that ring belt, which is, you know, like, I don't even know where I would put that in the hierarchy of belts. But yeah, look, I get it. You know, Tank is the more popular guy, but Devin Haney is the number 1 fighter at 135 pounds. It's a no-brainer. He's an undisputed champ. He's not the most popular fighter. He doesn't do the most numbers, but he is the number 1 ranked fighter in the division. He's got all 4 belts. Tank is the more popular guy. And if you let LRB and PBC want to make all these excuses why they won't fight Devin Haney, they can make them. And we'll come on this show on Wednesday night and we'll continue to say what it is.
So Randy, so does Tank draw more than Canelo?
No.
Does he draw more than Joshua?
No. Very no.
More than Wilder?
I think
the answer is no.
And like, you being unfair. All of these.
What am I saying?
So okay, but
like you said top 5, Randy.
I did say 5. That, but you know, naturally, heavyweight fighters has always been the crux.
You should have thought about that before you just said.
I see what you're doing, but yeah, heavyweight traditionally has outsold any fucking other.
He's not. He's not top 5.
I still all right. So subtract the heavyweights. I say he top 3.
Subtract the heavyweights.
You got
all right. Now he's like top 3.
It's like a calculus equation now, guys.
He might be top 3.
That I got to do.
So in the U.S., all right. Let's put it like this: in the U.S., he's a top 3 draw.
He might be. I would be curious to see what Berlanga's numbers do. I'd be curious to see what a guy like. Well, you said
come on, man. You ain't being. It's not pay-per-view.
I am being serious. Berlanga.
You said Berlanga going out.
Berlanga's not. He's never even done pay-per-view.
Just selling tickets.
No, I'm talking about pay-per-view, like somebody.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Berlanga's a bill. You're right. I take that back. Berlanga's not been on pay-per-view. You're right.
Like we've been on this for like 30 minutes. So with that said.
Damn, we still got 3 more fights we gotta do.
Yeah. So we, I think we pretty much know everybody's picking Haney, so we don't have to go through the rigmarole, even with odds and stuff like that. All the pundits are picking him. Anybody picking who want to go out on the limb and say a knockout?
No.
Absolutely not.
With that said, we do have an interesting fight at middleweight. So we're going to end with the big boys, but we have an interesting fight at middleweight. We got your boy Caleb Plant, who is fighting Anthony Dirrell. This is the main event. I mean, this is the co-main event to the return of Deontay Wilder against Robert Helenius. And this one, I was a little surprised that Caleb Plant is a negative 1,000, so he's a 10-1 favorite to win this fight. And Anthony Dirrell is a plus 600. If I was a betting man, I might put some money on that. But there's a lot of angst and kind of anger that is kind of built into this fight here. But Casual, we're gonna kind of stay with you here. So this fight right here is. It's 2 things. It's going to be the winner. It's going to be the person that's going to be calling out Canelo Alvarez, and the winner is also going to be the person who is avoiding David Benavidez. Who do you think is? I think so, but that's just me.
I don't know. So
go ahead.
This is, to me, this is an interesting fight, right? So Caleb Plant He is the number one in the WBC, right?
How?
He's number one at WBC. But if Caleb Plant was to win, like his call to rematch Alvarez will fall on deaf ears, because I think with that fight, the next fight when Alvarez come back, I think he's shooting for John Ryder. But I think if Dirrell was to win, I think Dirrell has a legitimate a chance of calling out Alvarez for the next fight.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
That ain't gonna happen. But I think in the public's eye, I think people can digest Dirrell calling out Alvarez and seeing what it was versus another rematch with Plant. Because if Plant wins, then it's going to be easier for Alvarez to be like, yo, I already beat him. Let me go to
not only that, I smashed you. I knocked you out. And then with Benavidez, he already knocked out Dirrell, right? He stopped him also. So
that's right. What you probably see, the winner of this fight will probably have the task of beating this kid out of France, Christian Mbili. And if you have not seen this kid, Christian Mbili, fight, I don't think Dirrell or Plant want problems with this kid Mbili. Because Benavidez is locked in there as the WBC super champ, right? He's locked in at that spot. This fight is not an eliminator because of David Benavidez's position. Mbili is currently the number 2 guy in the WBC.
So the magic, the question on everybody's mind is Benavidez going to maintain weight for another year?
Yeah, I think the answer to that is, and I asked Dave about this last week. No, he's come out and said that he's willing to fight the winner of Bivol Sudo.
Yeah,
also,
so
which I don't see how that fight happens.
That's going to free a lot of shit up, and then that's going to take the foot off of Canelo's neck. But
it doesn't. Not with this kid Mbili.
I mean,
have y'all seen him?
He ain't got a name though. He doesn't have a name, so
that's no pressure for Canelo. Come on, like
there's no.
I mean, he's gonna have to defend these belts. He's been
but like if this guy's been able to avoid David Benavidez, who everybody and their mama is calling for that fight, this French guy is like he's down in the pecking order.
Well, remember he moved up and challenged for the WBA belts. Right, He lost Canelo. He moved up and challenged Bivol for his WBA belt. Right, his 168 pound light heavyweight. His 168 pound status is then on hold. Right, he loses. He comes back and he does a voluntary against Triple G, which he's entitled to at 168 pounds. So I pick which rules the sanctioning bodies are going to adhere to this time. I'm not sure how much time he's got before these mandatories get called. But Al Heyman and the rest of these guys are going to start making phone calls here and saying, hey, these belts got to get defended at some point, especially if you represent Benavidez, right?
Well, I mean, we've talked a lot, but we haven't kind of talked about the fight. Do y'all see Caleb Plant? He is a 10-1 favorite. Like,
I don't see how.
Yeah, I don't see 10-1, man.
Let me tell you this:
it's a good fight, though. I think this
seems like good. That seems like a good money bet. 10-1.
Yeah, that's what you should be talking about. That shit, Cam. This is the fight if you want to make a little bit of money. Because if he hadn't have switched trainers and joined with Brett, I don't know if the viewers are aware. He dropped whoever his trainer was for the Canelo fight, and is now for the last almost 8-9 months been training with Stephen Breadman Edwards. So the only reason I might be inclined to pick Caleb Plant is because he is training with Stephen Edwards. And if we're able to see any of that J-Rock skill set in this fight, then I like his chances. If he was still with that other guy, I'm picking Dirrell. And I'm picking Dirrell maybe by stoppage.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. I still am not sure I'm going to pick Caleb Plant to win this fight.
So you're not gonna give the people a pick.
I had to think about it. I'm gonna let Dave go and I'm gonna let you go. And I'd like to pick last because I don't know that I'm picking Plant to win this. He really, after that Canelo Alvarez fight, when I heard that footage of him asking Canelo, telling Canelo he respected his skill.
I respect you too.
I ain't never heard no shit, man. That shit right there made me lose a lot of respect for this guy, man. And trying to talk to this dude in the ring and asking for Canelo's validation in the ring. And I'm better than I thought you were. Than you thought I was, aren't I? That's some shit right there, Joe. I don't like what you got, how you put together up there, all that shit. Validation seeking from your opponent, all that bullshit. Nah, he lost me. He really did.
All right, Coach Dave. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I on this one, man. I think the fight go either way. I kind of a little bit to Jared's point, man. A little bit to his point, man. I do think DIRRELL got a little bit more dog in him, though. I do.
But to be a plus 600 underdog.
Yeah, but we all seen them dudes fight. It's not that wide a margin, right? I mean,
it's not. I don't like. It is not.
That's crazy.
Unless they just think that he just doesn't have much left in him. I mean, his last. Well, I will say that his last two fights, his last three fights was. He lost to David Benavidez was September 28th, 2019. Then he didn't fight again until 2021.
That was Kyron Davis, right?
Kyron Davis, and it was a draw.
I thought he lost that fight.
Yeah, and then he won against Marcos Hernandez and
stopped him.
Stopped him in the fourth round. This was in November of 2021.
How old is? Is Father Time catching up with this guy?
He's 37. He's 37 years old.
Yeah. Damn. He's 37. I didn't realize he's 37.
37.
But look, we know Plant ain't stopping him. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish, Dave. Finish.
I'm go with Plant, man.
You got Plant. Okay. The casual one. So, and before you do that, I'll give Caleb Plant's last three fights. He's 30 years old, so time is still on his side. But he lost TKO to Canelo Alvarez in November 6, 2021. He beat Caleb Truax in Truax, excuse me. Caleb Truax in January 30th of 2021. And then he knocked out Vincent Feigenbutz. This was February the 15th in 2020.
So
he's beat absolutely nobody. His best win is Uzcategui. Is his best win, and that's a solid win, especially given what we know about Uzcategui, right? He was probably on PEDs for that fight because he popped positive. After that, go ahead. Sorry, Randy, I had to throw that in there.
So I mean, this fight is to be Mr. Irrelevant. Like, so if DIRRELL wins, like you said, he's 37 years old. He's not going to be progressed to be the champion. Caleb Plant win, he just got knocked out, so nobody's going to give him the chance. So this fight right here is for relevancy, or that, like Jared says, fight the Christian Billy guy.
I don't know. I think maybe Randy, depending on what happens business-wise, and if PBC can't get a deal done with the network here, maybe the winner of this fight is able to go to ESPN and get a fight with Edgar Berlanga. Because if I'm top ranking ESPN, I'm looking to set up Berlanga for a comeback fight, for a Canelo Alvarez fight sometime next year.
Yeah, that's if you're gonna cash out on Berlanga. Come on, babe. We've seen this guy fight, man. This guy has fought like trash competition.
Fair enough. But I mean, like Randy said, there ain't a whole lot left. I mean, there's Danny Jacobs, who is kind of a if you got the money, I'll fight kind of guy.
Yeah.
Mbili, I'm not sure who he's aligned with promotionally. John Ryder is over on Matchroom. Jacobs, I think, is still technically a Matchroom guy, but he's advised by Al Heyman. You've got Jesse Hart, who apparently is going to be fighting Benavidez here at the end of the year. That's the word on the street. The rest of these guys here, I mean, you've got Morrell. Now, that's a fight that could be made. They're both Dirrell.
Isn't he fighting soon? He's fighting this year.
He is, but he can get the winner of Dirrell and Plant in the late winter, early spring. That, promotionally speaking, is the easiest fight to be made on the PBC side. You take the winner of this fight and you throw him in there against Morrell, and you hope that Benavidez moves up to 175 pounds, even though PBC doesn't have the inventory at 175 pounds. Otherwise, you're going to have Benavidez sitting around waiting.
It's a shame. Why would not anybody fight this guy? But
because he's gigantic. That's why he should have been fighting at 175 pounds.
Right. If he can make the weight, that's like the guy Fundura who just fought this weekend.
I agree with you. Fundura is Mexican Jared Hurd. He's gonna get his ass kicked here soon enough. Put him in there. You put him in there with the right guy.
That's Dave. That's Dave guy. You know what I'm saying? He's getting ready to get lumped up soon.
Hey, for the record, I said Xander Zayas is my guy. I like Fundura though, but for the record, Xander.
You did. Right, Dave is big on Xander.
You gotta, so you taking Caleb Plant on the plus 1,000.
I'm taking Plant on this, man.
Negative 1,000 or the Anthony Dirrell plus 600.
I'm taking Plant by decision. It's gonna go 12.
All right.
Now, make this short. I'm gonna go with Dirrell. If I had seen Plant in a fight with Breadman already, I'd have more to go off of. So I'm going off of the last version of Caleb Plant that I saw. I gave this motherfucker the benefit of the doubt in that Canelo fight, and I'm not doing that with any more fighters ever again. I'm going off of that same Caleb Plant, the guy that gets on his pogo stick and gets on his bike, won't sit down on his shots. And I think he gets walked down towards the end of this fight. I think he gets walked down. I think he gets stopped. I think Dirrell might have to lose a point or two to get the stoppage. I think you're going to see some old man dirty shit from Dirrell. You might see some low blows. You might see a little head buttage early. I think he'll lose a point to get that stoppage later in this fight. I'm going to go with Anthony the Dog Dirrell in the 11th round.
All right, Coach Dave.
What
say you?
I'm going with Plant, man. I'm going with Plant.
I think that's a good shot. I so want to. I'm not even a betting guy, but at those odds, I so want to go with Anthony Dirrell. But
why the fuck not? Throw a little $20 on there, right?
I know at this age and stage of his career. And I think that Caleb Plant, it might be warranted, but he has, he gets a little bit of a bad rap. But I think that he does win this fight by a unanimous decision. So with that said, we are going to end this segment with the return of Bomb Squad. My man, Deontay Wilder is back in the ring against Robert Helenius. This is the first time that he has been back in the ring since the culmination of the trilogy with my man Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder at this time is sitting as a negative 800 favorite, meaning that you would need $800. Bet on him to get back $100, and Robert Helenius is a plus 550 underdog at this time. I've seen a pretty motivated Deontay Wilder, although and he's been consistent with this answer, but I don't necessarily like the reason why. If anybody asks him, why did you decide to kind of come back? Because I had predicted that he was I had predicted that he was going to retire after this. because he's somebody who so much of his his boxing prowess and everything comes just based off of his this thought that I'm destined to do this and all this. Like he's somebody who famously said that he doesn't believe in the sweet science. And then when he got shown the sweet science, he claimed that his water got poisoned, that the suit was too this, that his corner. And I thought it was somebody who did not know how to take a loss. So that way he did not know how to make the proper adjustments. And then if you did ask him why he decided to come back, does anybody know the answer that he always gives?
Yeah, it was the drugs, right? Didn't he take some sort of magical fucking mushrooms or some shit like that?
Statue, when they gave him the statue.
It was a statue.
People.
But he said he went and took some kind of drug to gain some sort of insight into whether or not he should continue. I could have sworn he said some shit like that.
I've never heard
that. Oh, man.
I was talking about the one that's been consistent. Yeah, it was been the statue. If anybody actually it wasn't to say that I wanted to reclaim this on the throne. And it was just really that, to me, it sounds like somebody who has not kind of formed an identity outside of boxing, right? It's just where you go and just like, oh, what's up, champ? But I remember you did this, and it was just like, man, I want to go back to that. Even though his last fight, was it was almost a year ago to the date. It was October the 9th in 2021. But I still think that at this point, he has enough just firepower and just kind of historic knockout power to get through a pretty pedestrian Robert Helenius. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my pick, and I'm gonna go with the favorite, and I'm gonna say he's gonna show some, couple of weaknesses in there that's just with his flawed style, but I'm gonna say 7th round knockout for my man Deontay Wilder.
Now I had a question I wanted to ask Dave about this fight. Dave, if you Malik Scott and this guy's coming off of 2 back-to-back stoppage losses, what's the strategy? Do you want to see this guy get some rounds in? Do they prolong the fight in order to get rounds in, or is this this is the heavyweight division, stupid, dumb, anything, one punch can change the whole fight. Go ahead and get this guy up out of there.
Well, I can't speak for the mindset of you get your rounds in sparring. Technically you should never take any chances when you're in that boxing ring, especially if it's an actual fight. You get your rounds in while you're sparring. And the key to it is, you throw the punches that the guy is allowing you to hit him with, and then it will open up the opportunities for you to throw the punches that you want to throw. You might love your left hook, you might love your straight right hand, but if the guy's uptight, that straight right hand and that left hook might not be there, so you get up under them elbows and go to the pot. So I never play around saying, let him coast and, carry the cat a couple of rounds. I never do that, So I say you get up in that joker, you get up in there and you get out of there as quick as you can.
Yeah, no bruises, no head trauma. You try to get in some rounds as a heavyweight, you're gonna be looking up at some lights.
It might be night. Yeah. I don't know. My there's no question in my mind. Wilder stretches this guy out somewhere in between round 4 and 7. I want to see how he gets the knockout. Are we going to see some of this boxing ability that he has demonstrated in the past without Malik Scott? We've seen him box before. That Bermain-Stavern 1 fight, we saw, I think, the most versatility that we've ever seen out of Deontay Wilder. So it's not that this guy doesn't know how to box, but he kind of abandoned it for this all it takes is one kind of mentality. He's gonna beat this guy. It's just a matter of how, to me. I really does he work to set that right hand up? And when I say work, I mean very, very deliberately, specifically work to set it up, not wait to land it like he did with Luis Ortiz, because he's down by seven rounds to none or whatever it was when he knocks out Luis Ortiz. Does he set that right hand up?
The kind of boxing acumen. It's just anytime he's been in with anybody who knows how to box, who knows how to move around the ring, it's like we give too much. Who is Bermain Stavern? It's just like that guy is.
Well, Stavern beat Ruiz. Didn't Stavern beat John Ruiz or Chris Arreola, one of those guys?
He beat Chris Arreola, but I mean, who doesn't beat Chris Arreola?
I don't know. Chris Arreola would. Okay.
I mean, come on. Like, I think Chris Arreola was a hype job that everybody took to heart. So that means that every time somebody beats Chris Arreola, we want to give them some props. It's like Chris Arreola was never that guy. Chris Arreola is 38-7 with 3 KOs. This guy,
wait, 3 KOs? That's it?
He's been knocked out 3 times.
Oh, no, I thought you meant he only has 3 KO wins.
No, come on, no. He was.
I was gonna say. I mean, it's heavyweight. I mean, everybody gets stopped at heavyweight. No, very few guys. I mean, yeah. Hey, look, I'm not gonna sit here and defend Deontay Wilder's strength of opposition. He lost after he threw Mark Brewer under the bus. I'm not gonna sit here and defend this guy. So if you don't think his strength of opposition is all that, I ain't gonna argue.
I mean, if we gotta go to, I mean, his best win is obviously Luis Ortiz. I give him props for that, but these were fights that he was easily like. These are like easy boxing matches that we were like just kind of like looking at where he just looked dumbfounded.
Oh, what about the other guy, the guy that played quarterback in college? What was his name?
Dominique Brazil. Who?
Brazil. You don't. Wasn't Brazil a solid win? That wasn't a solid win. You're telling me?
It was a great knockout, man.
It was a highlight real knockout. It's not.
But Brazil was not a rateable guy at that time. He wasn't.
Nah, I mean, the reason that we gave Anthony Joshua so much credit is because he was fighting Dillian White's, Vladimir Klitschko's, even a Povetkin and the guy that just got knocked out by
Joseph Parker.
Like those are legitimate guys who like held belts or all of these. Like he has none of those guys on his resume.
All right, so I always thought Stavern was a solid win for the guy, man. I thought Stavern and Ortiz were his.
You know why? Because the first time he fought Stavern, what happened?
He went 12 rounds.
So everybody gave him just all this credit for it because this was so everybody just gave Stavern all this credit for going 12 rounds with him, and like that's really his greatest accomplishment. And then that second fight that he had with him, the guy was so out of shape, it was laughable.
What about Gerald Washington? That wasn't a good win.
Gerald Washington?
Yeah.
Tell me Gerald Washington's best win. Gerald Washington, man. Gerald Washington.
Yeah, I never really bought into this idea that he had this shitty resume. I always thought he had just underrated.
I mean, saying like, why not fight him?
Yeah.
I mean, the guys may not have wanted to fight him, but I'm like, fight him. Well, he wanted to fight Joshua, so I will give him credit for that in there. And I still think that he has he's up there. He's a top 5 heavyweight when it just comes to just sheer knockout power.
Yeah, you might be onto something here, man. Stavern's resume is awfully thin here, and so is
Gerald Washington. They got
Gerald Washington, man. Maybe Eric Molina. No, man. Yeah, man. Maybe there is something to this narrative here that he's got a bad resume. Maybe he does. All
right. So we're getting close to the time. So you have a knockout for the Bronze Bomber between the 4th and 7th round. Coach Dave, what say you?
And all right, so dude, Wilder should knock this dude out, man. Wilder should knock this guy out. He should knock him out 6th round, man. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna flip it, man. I'm gonna go, man. Buffett. I'm gonna take HELENIUS, man.
Woo!
Whoa, this guy.
Trying to get some money. Go ahead, like go.
Yeah.
Let me.
I got 50 on it. I got 50 on it on the odds.
And so Wilder should knock this cat out because when HELENIUS is on the outside, that head is up. Y'all know.
Yeah,
see how
it is. Yeah.
that left hand. Go back to fights. I literally watched probably 4 of this guy's fights, right? So, I mean, watch them to study. So the guy's left hand is low, man. His head is up, man. Wilder should knock this joker straight out. And then I think I was watching this one fight with HELENIUS, man, and I'm not sure if it was. I don't know if it was Chisora. I don't know who it was. But when they was on the inside, I actually liked this guy's protection, and I liked, as a big man, how tight his shots were. I don't think Wilder is a solid fighter on the inside because he's so wild and punches be hitting jokers in the back, and you know.
I think it was maybe Dillian White you might be referring to, even though he lost to him though.
Yeah, he lost to White, but I like this. I like the way the guy kind of fight on the inside, man. So what I'm hoping is, you know, he can dodge that bullet a little bit, get on that inside, man. And the boy got a sneaky uppercut. That with how wide Wilder is when he's close.
Ooh.
And just kind of sneaking, man. So I know Wilder's gonna be anxious and swinging all wild and crazy, man. You know, trying to put on the show or whatever, man. And I just I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'm going for the underdog.
Ooh, that was spicy.
I would bet on it, man. I just see what's happening. I don't know, man.
You want to throw that shit out there?
I just throw it out there, man. HELENIUS, man.
So to me, that sounds like the header, like for this show, is like Coach, you know, picks the upsetter. So that sounds like that seemed like the header for the show. Cause
segment.
Yeah. So the casual one, we're gonna end with you.
Man, Wilder gonna knock this dude ass out. Knock Buddy out, man. He was picked for a reason. You know what I'm saying? It was a softball. He gonna knock this shit out the park, man. He gonna look good, and then they're gonna set this top. Who's gonna fight next?
Ruiz.
Ruiz. Set this Ruiz fight up next. Or Usyk. Usyk did say that he was gonna. He did want to give Wilder a chance.
Usyk's people came out. Aegis Clemus came out earlier this weekend and said that very specifically that Wilder was not the priority. That the undisputed fight with Fury.
Yes, that should be.
That's a priority. But you want to give yourself some leverage.
Knock Fury, Usyk ass out too.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he might.
Real talk, man. I mean, you know, Fury probably really the only one that got their boys number.
Yeah,
you know,
Fury the only one that got his number, man.
Real talk, man. You know, and I know I just picked up boy, but real talk, man. Unless that joker just have a flashback, boy. If I was dang on HELENIUS, I come in that joker shade, looking just like
seen him, yeah. So like,
right.
The thing about
looking just like Fury,
just like Fury, boy.
Come in like 300 pounds and just lean on that motherfucker. Yeah, that's it. You bring up an interesting point. And it's what if fights like that, Dave, can they have a long-term, can Wilder's punch resistance be diminished at this point, or is that those two fights were just not enough wear and tear? What do you think? Is his punch resistance still there?
Man, I couldn't tell you, man. I wish I'd have watched. If I would have watched some of his training session, mid work and bad work with Malik Scott, I could probably. But yeah, make no mistake about it, man. That you know, time and pounding can absolutely, you know, take away the sweet science that is within, your weapon, which is your body in this sport. Make no mistake about it, it can. So I don't know, man. I personally think that this guy still hit hard, bro. I mean, it's like, real talk, man. He probably break this joker face. He should.
He might.
But I'm just going for the underdog, man. But I do think that Tyson Fury just took a lot out of this man.
He did, man.
Emotionally, mentally, and physically. He took.
And he still hasn't accepted the loss, but I think sometimes with boxers,
he hasn't.
He has not. I think with boxers, sometimes being delusional is it might be a good thing because it might put him into a atmosphere where he just feels like he's still undefeated and he still can kind of go on. But with that said, we are going to wrap up. So this is our 40th show, but this is the first time that we are working with a producer. We want to give a shout out to our producer Dave in there. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show.